You want to enable chat for me?
Yes, I always forget to enable chat. And people. All right. Okay, so we're getting started with the webinar. We're just gonna wait for people to trickle in. Chat is enabled, Q&A is enabled, so we can answer those questions live. You should be able to hear me okay, and you should be able to see my screen. All those things should be functional. Mark, are we good to start?
As far as I can tell, everything looks good.
Welcome everybody to RightTool for QuickBooks Online, version 1.018.6. Basically means the December edition of RightTool monthly webinar updates. Today is December 13th, 2023, and we do say the dates out loud in these webinars because QuickBooks Online changes so fast and we add so many features so quickly. It's important for you to know when this webinar was recorded and the demonstration was done. Quick notes here, we added the link to the webinar slides. If you want to follow along, click on any of the links, make sure you access that. Last month on November 8th, we did the November edition of this webinar where we covered all the new features that were added in November. And if you want to see the recording for that webinar, you can click on the direct link that's in there. And also you can subscribe to the YouTube channel for RightTool. Now, we strongly recommend that you subscribe to the RightTool YouTube channel because every time we release a new feature, we are going to record a quick demo, 2-3 minute demo of how, sometimes 30 seconds, of how that feature works. And basically, if you want to be notified, if you want to be the first one notified of a new thing that was added to RightTool, the YouTube channel is actually the single fastest route to, it's a strange workaround way to get the single quickest information about the new features. Okay. Also, if you have any friends and colleagues that that haven't been using RightTool for a year, like the vast majority of you, we do have a webinar tomorrow, and this will be recorded and this will be posted in my personal YouTube channel. We have a RightTool 101 webinar that we're doing tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to share with anybody, the link is on in the slides. Okay. Today's agenda, we are going to talk about QBO related news that pertain to things that matter to us in the RightTool world. Then we'll talk about, where are the RightTool resources, the reviews and feedback and all that stuff. We'll again emphasize to access and take a look at the big spreadsheet comparison chart that we have, especially for those that are sort of in the fence trying to figure out, is RightTool Pro right for me or should we stay in RightTool Free? We're okay either way. We love all of our users, regardless of whether you're in free or the Pro version. We were going to discuss some potential changes to RightTool pricing in 2024 and 2025, some of our plans, but we're going to wait for January for that. Just we don't want to confuse people quite yet. We have a large group of people that bought a year's worth of RightTool back in December of 2022. And we're getting a lot of messages of people asking us, hey, on December 15th, whenever they signed up, what would my renewal price be? And then we actually pushed all the renewal prices for that group of people that purchased RightTool for a whole year between December and January 15th of 20. So between December 2022 and January 15th of 2023, a bunch of people had the opportunity to buy a year's worth of RightTool Pro, and we're going to renew everybody monthly on January 15th of 2023 at $50 a month, 50 at $50 a month. And we're working on getting an annual option there for people that want to renew for a whole year as well. So that's the only quick thing we wanted to mention on pricing. The rest of your questions you can put it in the chat and we'll answer that as well. But we will discuss this in detail in our January 2024 episode of the monthly webinar series. Then we're going to jump into improvements on existing free features. Then we'll talk about the new free features that were added in December. Then the new pro features that were added in December. And then we'll end it with what improvements we added to existing pro features that were already there prior to this webinar. So with that being said, let's talk about the most important QuickBooks Online related news. The memorized reports or the modernized reports or the enhanced view, the enhanced reports, quote unquote, doing a lot of air quotes here, are taking over. Now, taking over means that QuickBooks might delete complete access to the classic reports, or and that would be the worst case scenario, or QuickBooks will just default to the new enhanced reports, but not add a button to switch back to classic. That would be the best case scenario within the context of like this really bad idea, which is going into this modernized report so quickly. But within that context, if Intuit doesn't kill the direct URL links, that means we might still be able to give you access via RightTool for you to search the old reports, because we have the entire reports URL database. So we don't know exactly if they will execute this plan of like December 15th, actually killing 6 or 7 of the classic reports and not even giving people the ability to access them. We are going to do our best to facilitate the access to the classic reports as long as possible until Intuit actually kills the URL. Mark, you have any comments on that or any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Two things. One, yeah, you already said it. We'll try as best as possible to allow access to the classic reports if we can. The second thing is, I think Alicia said something about maybe they're pushing it back pushing back the date on this due to pushback from accountants. I don't know if that's confirmed, but I think Alicia had something on her Facebook group about that. So
She
maybe
did.
she knows something I don't.
She did. I have not seen anything in writing, anything official on this, but Alicia made a comment saying she spoke to someone that said, hey, we might be thinking about pushing this date forward, which we'll see. I mean, we're literally doing this on December 13th, so we don't know. I
Yeah.
did notice that this little pop-up is not showing up in all my company files. So that's pretty interesting. Before it showed up in all of them. So that's interesting. I wonder if they are pushing this date. So the only thing that really matters to us in RightTool world is, do we have access to the old reports via direct URL or not? And that's the only thing that will affect whether or not we'll have access to those old reports. The reports that they listed as the ones that you will not be able to access, via, you'll not be able to access in classic mode, are those 7 that are listed in there. This is from a specific email that most users should have gotten in the last couple of days. The other kind of interesting QuickBooks Online news is they're redesigning the 1099 reports a little bit. It's on the Firm of the Future article saying that there is going to be a new 1099 report coming. This screenshot, I copied it exactly from the Firm of the Future website. I have not seen access to this. We'll promise you that as soon as we see access to this report, we will make it available in RightTool as well, so you can access it quickly. So what was interesting about this screenshot in particular is that little fetch latest data checkbox or radio. What is that called? Is that called a radio button? Or a toggle? Yeah. So
Yeah,
the fetch
toggle.
latest data toggle, which I haven't seen any reports, and the summarize reports toggle that I haven't seen any reports. I don't know if this is a sketch or if this is like a new. So it feels like there's something new, different that's coming about with these 1099 reports. And again, they're not available yet. We looked and searched and everywhere. I don't see them in anywhere. But as soon as we have them, we'll add them into RightTool. Now, a couple of things. We actually moved. Let me just stop here for a second. I apologize. We moved. We're trying to move all of the RightTool related stuff officially onto the RightTool.app website. Let me share my screen again. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're trying to move everything to RightTool.app. So I'm actually going to update live the slides where we are going to, we want to publish all the release notes. So RightTool.app is the official home of RightTool, no longer the other website. And then we have release notes published in this website. If you just click on updates on the top of the screen, every time we add some new features, we will add a text verbiage to that, so you can track that as well. And then if you click on free versus pro, you'll be able to download. You have a little chart here where you can see all the features, which is available in free version or pro version only. And then you have a link to the YouTube video. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can see them there. But essentially, every single feature has an accompanying YouTube video, which you can also see that in the settings. So again, I strongly encourage you that you go or you use the RightTool.app website for any RightTool related information. Also, if you're not a member of the Facebook group, the RightTool Pro Facebook group, strongly recommend you join it. It's very active. People are asking questions all the time about QuickBooks, suggesting new features for RightTool, reporting bugs or reporting or trying to understand how a new feature works. And we all help each other, figure this out and make the best out of RightTool. So if you're not in that Facebook group, just join it. If you don't use Facebook out of principle, I know many people that don't do it. I would say just do Facebook for this particular group. You don't have to do anything else with it because that is the best place to get support. Also, there's a direct link for user feedback. So if you have any new suggestions for features or bugs, you can do it, or bug reports, you can do it to the feedback form. And also you can email Mark or myself directly. So we make ourselves very, very much available for the support. And if you love RightTool, if you believe RightTool is a 5-star app, going to the RightTool Chrome website or web page and click on Write Review, give it 5 stars and add a comment such as, I cannot live without RightTool. It's the best app in the world. QuickBooks has been significantly better with RightTool, et cetera, all the stuff that we need the other users in the world to know about so we can get more users. We're very excited that we have over 10,000 active downloads in the RightTool store, in the Chrome extension store, which actually it's really, really good because it helps us get more advertisers to support the free version as well. Free versions that the people that use Pro can use, and if you use Pro, that your clients can use, et cetera. We have over 100 features already in RightTool. It's actually 110. We recently added 5 more, so that was from last month. So we have 110 toggable features. These are things that you can turn off and on in RightTool, and 12 of them are fixed navigation bar features that we can't change. So that gives you a general idea. QuickBooks recently added 3 reports for job costing, specifically only in advanced reports. One is called Estimates versus Actuals by Project. The other one is called Estimates and Progress Invoicing Summary by Project. And the third one is called Work in Progress by Project. I'm going to just switch out of this, go to QuickBooks really quick, and show you what those are. So I'm going to log into a QuickBooks Online Advanced QBO file that I have available. And if you go into RightTool here on the right-hand side, if you type work, you're going to see a report here called Work in Progress by Project, Modernized. Okay, so that's there. Okay, obviously we didn't create this, QuickBooks created this, we just added the links to it. And then we have Estimates versus Actuals, a report that QuickBooks users have been craving forever. So we have Estimates versus Actuals, they're modernized, and you can go into that one.
And admittedly, this might be a weird quirk of the modernized reports. I'm just gonna say it. You have to go out and then back in, which is interesting.
Yeah. So if you are looking at a modernized report and you want to go into the direct link, you just have to go into a new page or do that, or right click and go to a new page or new window. So all these new reports, estimates of actual, work in progress, we added them. So Intuit added them for QBO Advanced, and we added them into the RightTool database. So just to let you know, those are there already. Let's talk about the new and improved features. So the first one is a no toggle feature. We haven't done this in a very long time, which basically means that you cannot turn off or on. It's just there by default. And this was added. This was suggested to us by a user by the name of Jeremy Craig, who said sometimes he gets deposits and expenses that come in through bank feeds, but before he accepts them, he wants to net the total of the two. And essentially what we added is a little preview of the net total of the two. So that's very difficult to explain, very easy to show. So let's go into bank feeds and show you what that looks like. So let's say, for example, we have some, let's just come in here. These are all expenses. Let me just look for a combination of debits and credits. Okay, perfect. Let's do, where do I do debits and credits? So imagine you are, and let me remove the grouping here. So imagine you're trying to figure out if a combination of deposits and an expense together adds up to a certain dollar amount that you maybe trying to match against some merchant deposits or something like that. And you start selecting multiple transactions. So notice if I select one, it says one is 1,000. I select the other one, combined is 1,041. If I select the third one, which is in this case, is a expense account, we added this little bottom that says net batch amount 1,003.11. Now we couldn't make this red, which makes it a little bit confusing because people are used to seeing red when it's a RightTool thing. But this is not a QuickBooks Online thing. It's not an Intuit thing. We added this. So you have to have RightTool installed for that, and we don't have a toggle. So it's one of the very few weird features that that are basically a total Easter egg. So if I didn't tell you about them, you probably would have thought that QuickBooks Online would have done that on their own. But so Jeremy, thank you very much. Great suggestion. I think a lot of people are gonna find tons of value in that. The next one is we improved the extended print options. Now it works in the new bills. So basically we had a few reports that the new bill window wasn't printing. We basically fixed that or added that. We did a very important fix to the RightTool search. And the Facebook groups were blowing up with people getting very frustrated because they cannot search, quote unquote, they cannot search inside of a journal entry. And essentially, and that's not entirely true. It's just how they were about doing it. So let me walk you through that. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to create a journal entry first. So I'm going to go here to new, create a journal entry, and I'll just illustrate this here for a second here. So let's say we have here 10,000, and then we're going to get very specific on in here. I'm going to do let's say 1122.33, and then the balance here would be 1122.33. One more. Okay, so if I wanted to search this specific amount or that specific amount, usually, depending on how you do your search, you wouldn't be able to find it. So let me explain to you exactly how that works. So I'm going to copy this amount. I'm going to save the journal entry.
Okay. You have to put an account, yeah.
Yeah. Accounting 101, right? All right. So there's my journal entry. And then what ends up happening is when people go into what they're calling the advanced search, and this one doesn't have, of course, this file doesn't have it. And this might be one of the
is so weird about this. They keep doing like it's like they don't know whether they want to continue with advanced search or they want to keep the old one.
Correct. I'm going to switch to a couple company files to see if I can find another one that has the advanced search. And this is one of the peculiar. Okay, so here you go. So if you have this search, the amount search, what ends up happening is if you put a dollar amount search here,
and that's not going to work out, by the way, because you're in a different file. Which, I mean, it wouldn't have. I get your point, but
okay, but hold on. We're gonna. So great point. You know what? I would not have noticed that. I would have been sitting here and screaming at this thing for hours trying to figure out why that did that. But why they did that. So thank you for that. Let's just do this again. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna search this specific dollar amount, 1122.33. And the major challenge was that if you put that dollar amount here and click search, it wouldn't find it. And this is the one thing that everybody was complaining about, that the search wouldn't do this. Okay, so the reason for that is because there is, and again, very strange, there's supposed to be another search bar all the way in the top, right? Where you can search inside detailed transactions, which at this point, I don't know why it's not showing on this one, but we're going to give this a try.
So we're going to do more filters. Well, no, don't worry about it.
No. So I'm going to put a dollar sign and the dollar amount on the search, and then pray at this point, press enter and see if this thing finds the amount. And yes, it does. Now, unfortunately, just the way so quirky the way QuickBooks Online is. This amount never shows, this will never show you a line item amount of a transaction, right? But the transaction is there. So long story short, the trick is we figure out sort of a hack, which is we do a text search across the board, and then it can find individual transactions. So now when I click in here, it will find the journal entry for me. Okay. So essentially the hack that we did, again, taking it back for a second, the hack that we did is if you have the new search screen, the new advanced search screen that looks like this and not the classic search like this, the classic search always worked because you could always go to all transaction lines and go to line amount and search the amount here. So there never was a problem using the old search. The problem is when people are using essentially the new search. And when they're using the new search, when they go to amount, and again, they press amount, they press search in there, it won't find it because that box is just so badly designed that it's only searching high-level transactions or header or the total of transactions. So the trick to this is to either use the search box up here and use a $sign on the search box up here. That's the trick number one. Use $sign in the search box in the top, okay? Or if you use the RightTool search, because again, this is all pertaining to RightTool, make sure that you use the $sign at the beginning of the search, because that will search it as a text instead of as a whole amount, and it would actually figure things out. So anyway, it's a weird one. It's like we're not particularly proud that this is the type of stuff that we're fixing, but we figured out a workaround for it, and I think it will be useful. Again, because we don't want people to like stop using the RightTool search because QuickBooks badly designed their search boxes. The next one is jump to location setting now has a link in the register. So we'll go back into that. Let's open up a register. So I'll go into bank register. Okay, we have a bunch of things in here. And let's say I went to open one of these transactions and I clicked on edit or something like that. And then after I'm finishing manipulating this, so let's say I'm going to change the date to this, and then click on save and close. Sometimes what happens to people is they'll sort of lose their place in line in the register. So when they go back into the register, it scrolls all the way to the top. Very frustrating. People, start cursing at the computer at this point. So we added this little button here that says jump to last. And if you click on jump to last, it will scroll down for you, highlight the last transaction that you clicked on to sort of get you back to where you're supposed to be. Okay. So, all right, that's it. Simple, easy peasy. Next, let's talk about the new features, the brand new features that we added. And the first one, clean category names. This one's actually sort of work in progress. We're getting multiple feedback about what people want. So what I asked Mark originally, and I showed them a chart of accounts that has one layer of sub-accounts. And I said, hey, when you see a long account name in bank feeds, and I can't see what the end account is, could you shorten that for me so I can only see the second account? But sometimes the chart of account has 3 layers, 4 layers, 5 layers. You can go 5 layers deep with sub accounts. So Mark is working on basically just taking the very last, if you have 5 layers or 3 layers of sub accounts, the very last account is the only account that's going to show in bank feeds. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's go into bank feeds. Actually, I'm going to switch out to another company file here that has very long and complicated account names in the chart of accounts. So I'm going to go into bank feed over here. Okay. And essentially what happens is, let's say that we have a big chart of accounts here. We see automobile expense, and this is an example of how we took the second one. But right now, my chart of accounts, actually, this one has 3 layers. I have sales and marketing as the first parent account. Then I have automobile expense as the second account. And then I have parking and tolls as the third account. Okay. So right now the feature is turned on. So essentially what it's doing is grabbing the second account. Now, this was a mistake on implementation. What we really want is to grab the very last account. So what you see here, the example that you see here 60205. It's actually grabbing the second account, but really should be the third account. And we just published the update to this morning. We had a couple of Facebook users that say, hey, what about us, the 3 account people, the 4 account people? And of course, that made total sense. So you're going to see on point 7, which we'll release today at some point, December 13th in the afternoon, you're going to see it now show parking and tolls, the very last account. Now you can turn that off. I mean, I could totally see how that's frustrating for you. So we can turn it off here. It's called clean category names. It's part of the free feature. If I turn that off and go back to save and close, now you're going to see in contrast the difference. Now you'll be the judge what you prefer to see. So notice what ends up happening here is even with a pretty big screen, and if I zoom out, okay, I would have to zoom out very, very small, like very, very small, to be able to see a full path in the account name. And this is a small example. This is a short example of a full path name. So most people look at the screen like this, and basically they can't tell what account they're looking at. So if I click in here, and then I would have to come in here and actually open it and see which is the last account or the specific account. So that cleanup account names, again, what it does is it keeps the account number so you can reference it, and then it only grabs the very last, the lowest level account that's being previewed there in the bank feeds. Okay. Is there a live question there, Mark, that we want to answer? Something that Catherine is saying?
She's just saying that she'd like to have an indicator of if it is something that's been if it is a sub account, like in any way, shape, or form, just some kind of indicator, which I think we could do.
Maybe
to be
we can
clear,
make
this
a
feature is turned off by default because we figured this would be something where you either want it or you don't.
So could we make a red instead of green in this case?
I'm a little bit hesitant on that one.
Right. That changes the workflow of bank feeds. It changes the concepts of bank feeds.
Yeah, just
Trying
a
to
little bit.
figure out how we can do that for her, or how we can identify that account's being shortened.
Catherine's idea is just putting a little colon at the front of the thing to kind of signify it, which I think is not a bad idea. It's something small, but
a colon in front of the front of the account name, or at the beginning of the account name. At the beginning. At the beginning would make more sense.
Yeah. So
I have 2 ideas. Okay, one would be a colon at the very beginning of the account name, or 2, 3 dots, kind of like how it shows you how sort of the end of a sentence.
Yeah.
So something like that could work. All right, we'll play with it. And ellipsis, that's the name of it. The ellipsis. Thank you, Catherine. So all right, let's do a quick vote in the chat here. So either put colon or ellipsis. Colon or ellipsis. You could write the word or do it illustratively. So we'll take a look at it and see. Mark,
God.
you'll copy and paste this in ChatGPT and then have it count for us. Okay. So colon or ellipsis. Okay, perfect. All right. Next one is totals in sales tax liability reports. I'm gonna run it. Actually, I'm gonna have to give you. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm gonna give you power on this one, Mark, because you're the one who's been working on this. You got the feedback on this, and this feature is what probably nowhere close to where it's supposed to be. And full disclosure, might never get there. Sales tax is very complicated. That's why I told Mark, don't even mess with sales tax. But Mark, share your screen. Let me make you a host, and maybe explain what you've been working on. And then we'll take some suggestions here live on Facebook. I mean, on Zoom, to see what other people can tell us about that. And we have to see so many use cases for sales tax to be able to build a tool that will work for everybody. But this is our first attempt to try to fix sales tax reporting a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, and to be clear, I think there's some people who really want specific things that out of this that we just won't be able to do, but we might be able to make it so at least on this front we can put totals for everything. But what will happen now is if you go to the sales tax liability report, you'll see at the bottom there's this little thing that says get totals. You click on that and it's pretty fast. Usually, if it wants to work on me, or if it's going to just be not work. Why is it that demos go this way? I don't understand you sometimes.
Maybe the 0.7, maybe the 0.7 update is kicking in. Yep, that's exactly what was happening.
Life's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, God. Okay, yeah, I have to figure out what's going on with that. It
Yeah,
should
just
be.
remove, yeah, remove the app and add it again because it's literally just updating. So it's gonna act up.
I don't think, I mean, not for this one that I have, though. Shouldn't be acting
Yeah,
up.
you have 0.7 just now. It just literally just updated.
Yeah, but that's because of the fact that this is the development version.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's why this one's being like this. Yeah, it's just it wants to do its own
All
thing,
right,
apparently.
I'll go to the next thing.
Yeah, I'll work on that for a minute and we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
We'll see
So
what happened there.
yeah.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, and that's not because it's sales tax or anything. It's just the macro is not working. Okay, so we'll go back to total and sales tax liability report soon. Let's talk about all dates option in enhanced reports. So very simple, straightforward. I taught a class in QuickBooks Connect, and the single most essentially the single most frustrating thing that people were mentioning is that the drop down menu doesn't have an option for all dates. Okay, so the only equivalent to all dates would be to click on the drop down menu, click on custom dates, and then come in here and press Y a bunch of times, and then press T or something like that, or manually push some date in the future, and then essentially that will do all dates. So it's the hack for all dates is just to select a 10-year range, a 20-year range, or whatever. So what we've done is, and I'll just refresh the screen for a second to prevent you from doing all that clicking and clacking, okay, to get there, is we added a link here that says all dates. And essentially, it's like a little macro. You click on all dates, and it opens up the dates and selects from 1950 to 2300 for you. So essentially, it's a hack, it's a workaround for all dates. So that's the all dates option in enhanced reports. Okay, simple, yet elegant. Add QuickBooks Connect when we
Oh,
when
you gotta share your screen. Sorry.
it wasn't sharing the whole time.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was working on the thing and I didn't notice. My bad.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just do it one more time.
Yay.
Oh man.
Okay, all right. Let's start over. We'll have fun in the editing. Okay, just go back in here. Okay, next one is all dates option and enhanced reports. I'll go back here into QuickBooks Online. Essentially, when you are in the new report screen and you new enhanced, modernized reports, one of the biggest frustrations that people have is that there's no option in the drop-down menu for all dates. And this was the number one sort of like feedback that I got at QuickBooks Connect that frustrated people on the new enhanced report. So the only potential way to work around to show all dates would be to click on custom dates and then maybe go back, a couple of years in the front, and then press T or R for the end of the year, and then press tab and have it refreshed. And basically it's a workaround for all dates. So so essentially what we've done with RightTool is you come in here and you open your enhanced report or your modernized report, and there's a little macro on the top that says all dates. And that macro, when you click on that, opens up the date range and adds 1950 to the year 2300 for you. So essentially it's a hack or workaround for all dates. Essentially, that's all it is. Mark, did you get the sales tax stuff to work, or do we skip it completely?
I got it to work.
Okay.
Still have to put out an update, but I got it to work.
Okay. All right. So go
What are you
ahead
gonna do?
and go ahead and here you go.
Okay. So let's see here, this screen. Okay, so you go to the sales tax liability report. It should be showing now. And once you're in here, you'll see there's a button that says Kit Totals. It will be adjusted to be clear, but for the moment, you click on this, and all it will do is it will total up basically everything in every column and put it inside of the notes for you. You can print this out. And so I think the only thing right now that's actually useful, and people can feel free to let me know, is just totaling the tax amount. Again, this is a very small file when it comes to sales tax, but I've heard that a lot of people have been looking for this total for this tax amount from everything combined. So again,
So
we're gonna need feedback from people on this one.
that that's all it solves for now. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
we are, yeah. So like we can't fix the fundamental uh, sales tax problems in QuickBooks Online. Like QuickBooks has to fix this. Now that we can do. Only thing we can do from a RightTool level is to grab numbers and add them up or calculate them. So we will need you guys to test this and then come back to us with screenshots and say, hey, by the way, in my particular file, because in New York is one way or because Wyoming is a different way or whatever, I need to total different numbers. So I have to skip this number or skip that number. If you give us patterns and logic, we can figure out how we can build these things. Essentially, we're trying to save you the step of exporting to Excel and doing it in Excel. The only challenge, again, every state is different, and all that stuff could be tricky. So we will need you to send us screenshots of your file, maybe the screenshot of your file, the Excel version, and show us how you calculate it, and then we can figure out how we can build this into it. Luckily, this is like easy stuff from a programming level. We just got to figure out what gets calculated, what's not, what gets totaled, what doesn't get totaled, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Yeah, just to keep in mind that this is going to be updated in version 0.7. So if you have 0.6, it's not going to work yet, but it'll be working in 0.7. We'll put the update in that.
Which will be released at some point in December. Wednesday, December 13th. So you should see it at some point. All right, I'll let you take over the next features. So if you have the slides open, go ahead and cover the 2 pro features that we added.
Okie dokie. Let's see here. So inside of here, are we in the right spot? New pro features. Okay, convert payee type. This is one that was heavily requested. So this is a new one that we have put in. And what this is if you go to, let's say, a vendor inside of the vendor area, and the one I like to do is, actually, let's not do that one. Let's say that we have American Express. That's a bad one too, but we're going to just go with it. We have American Express over here. And so what it happens is you get this button at the top that says convert to customer. And if you were in a customer, it would say convert to vendor. So yeah, what happens is if you click on this, it'll give you a little pop-up that says, are you sure you want to convert this to a customer? And you press OK. And it should open up 2 tabs for you. This tab over here is going to open up the customer section, and it will have all the details from the previous vendor, and it'll put it into here. So all you have to do is click save, and you can edit this however you like before you click save. And then in here, you have the vendor. It's come back over here. You can see we have the text at the end that says vendor. And the reason we do this is just in case you don't want to delete this vendor. It's there for you so you can, do what you need if you need to change these expenses over and all that stuff. Just allows you to do that relatively easily. And yeah, so it doesn't do anything, like it doesn't convert the actual transactions at the moment, but it does make it easier to convert everything over. One more thing.
It doesn't move any history. The history stays with the old vendor. And if you want to change those over, which you could, technically you could, you would have to go in, you have to do it in the register, and you would have to select all the transactions under one payee and then change that over, which I think, Mark, makes sense for you to demo that quickly. But go ahead, go to your next thing.
One more thing I wanted to show is that if I convert this to customer, I wanted to use one that actually had stuff inside of it. So over here, you can see that you get all the email, phone number, and all that other stuff comes into here as well. So just something else I wanted to put out there. But yeah.
So essentially what we're doing is creating the vendor or the customer, the opposite of what it currently is, and then paste for you all the stuff so you don't have to manually do it.
Yeah. And again, it does not do anything to the original payee until you do something other than changing the name to have vendor or customer in it. Otherwise, you need to do if you want to delete this, that's something you have to do. We're not doing it for you on that. Yeah. Okay. And then, oh, bill pay enhancements is another one that we got a request for. And it's kind of, in order to see why this is a problem, I have to actually go to this in the first place, bill pay. Let's go ahead and put that in there. I'm going to turn this off first and then refresh the page. So when you are receiving a bill payment, come on. Let's see. Pay bills. This is two different enhancements at the same time. Unfortunately, there are not enough payments for this to actually really show. Oh, yeah, never mind. I know. Let's go to an invoice first. How about that? Let's see here. So we got this.
It's a bill pay. You want to do that through an invoice, or you mean a bill?
Yes. I appreciate that.
No problem.
It's been a hot second since I worked on this, so my brain's not 100% there.
And maybe go back for a second and explain the pain point that that person had when they
Yeah.
requested this.
Well, and what that's why I'm going to this page. So what happens here is you see here, you have the outstanding transactions and then you have the credits at the bottom. But if you ever tried to filter this, so if you're trying to filter bills from a certain date and you go from November here to November 30th or something like that, you'll see. You're going to be this way.
It's the filter credit doesn't show.
Yeah.
Doesn't allow you it doesn't allow you to select.
Did I make a mistake with this feature and make it so it's always on or something? But yes, today's a day.
No,
Wait.
hang on, Mark, hold on. This particular bill payment already has the vendor credit applied to it. So you have to do it. You gotta do a new one. You gotta do a new one.
Just delete this one.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta do a new one to show exactly how that works.
Let's see here. So we're gonna come back to this bill payment. Or this bill. Mark is paid. Okay.
Let's go back and explain. There's a glitch with the design of QuickBooks Online on this page. Okay, uncheck that credit for a second, Mark. Just go down and uncheck the credit. Okay, and actually uncheck all of them. Uncheck all of them. Okay, so you're gonna go make a bill payment.
Let's just go ahead and put that in. QuickBooks, can you be less of a weird mess sometimes?
What a mess.
Okay.
And then people wonder why people don't like QuickBooks Online. But
we're just gonna leave one thing checked.
Exactly. So there's a glitch when you select a date range in the filter. For some reason, the credit portion at the bottom is not checkable. Notice that you can't add a checkbox to it. So with this fix, you can now add it to it, right? So yeah.
Well, you have to. I think I might have done something weird or wonky. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know what's going on with that. So it's probably something on my side. Because normally if this feature's turned off, that credit would not show up. So
yeah, keep demoing it. I'll turn it off and try on my side, see if you didn't add it to a toggle.
Yeah. But there's a second spot that this goes to, which is the pay bills area. And so what happens in here, if it wants to load today, and I'm going to refresh the page now, is that now there's also a button inside of here that says show all rows. So if you are working inside of the pay bill section, you can't select but so many bills at one time on the same page, we can now do show all rows. So you can select every row you want to select and then, do the payment. So that's just, again, these are small fixes. They're kind of just weird quirks of QuickBooks Online that we're trying to fix. So yeah, hopefully that helps. It's for people who have very, very large payments that they do in one bulk.
Okay, let's go back because it was a little scattered. So when you turn on the go back into the settings and show the feature.
Yeah.
And okay, when when you turn on bill payment enhancements, there are two fixes. One, in the bill pay screen, you show all rows. Okay, so that's fixed. So basically, it's two things in two places. Okay.
Yeah.
And two, when you go pay a bill, and you filter by a particular date range, and I'll take over.
Yeah.
I'll take over the screen for a second. Hold on. So it might make more sense if we go through here. So you saw live when Mark showed you the all rows. Okay. Now,
Don't forget to share your screen.
yeah. All right. So now, okay, I'm gonna make this is vendor here called B Balance Serve, and I'm gonna pay a bill for it. Okay. So like if you don't run a filter, this works fine. You select the multiple bills you wanna apply. And if there's a vendor credit, you can add it down there. So there's no vendor credit on this one in particular. Let's just add it really quick. So let's go into doing a vendor credit. This is B balance serve, and this is, let's say that this vendor credit will be this thing, and it will be $10,000. Okay, save and close. So if I go and open up a bill that I recently opened, and I go Marcus page, so this is the bill payment screen. The way it's set up right now, it selects everything for you automatically. Okay, it is just a very quirky thing the way QBO works. Like if I unselect everything, they all disappear, but they all show up here, sort of on the right hand side. So as long as I have one bill selected here, the whole grid shows, and at the bottom I should see my bill credit. Okay, give me a second. That bill credit could have been automatically applied, which of course it would.
I think we need to call time of death on this one.
But hang on a second. Bill credit, the vendor credit is for B balance serve. No, it shouldn't. Okay, then QuickBooks is broken then. Hold on a second. QuickBooks.
Well, and to be fair, there's only one way to even get to this page.
No, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So what ends up happening is when you're making a bill payment, and the reason why it's quirky is because QuickBooks is quirky. Like there's no issue with our solution here. It's if you are on this screen and you see vendor credits and you see if you see bills, uncheck the vendor credits for a second, okay? And they go away, the vendor credits are sitting here somewhere, okay? What ends up happening is if you click on filter and you select a date range, for some reason they disappear from the vendor credit. Okay, so that's the problem. They're sort of hidden, and you can't see them. Then I'm gonna turn RightTool back on, because I deleted it completely because I was trying to figure out if in this case we had it there without a toggle. Give me a second. Let me get RightTool back on. And let's refresh here.
Well, and this is a pro feature, so if you just installed it, I don't know if it's gonna.
Yeah, I just log in. Okay.
And maybe Julie has a interesting statement. Maybe it's not showing credits until you check enough bills that it adds up to that credit, which is maybe possible, but still a weird choice.
Yeah, it's a weird choice, but I mean, we did do something here, so I want to show you what we did. So once we turn this on, and we have some sort of filter,
now the credits show up.
We show the credits. So all we did is QuickBooks is hiding the credits for some strange reason when you run the filters. And with this, when you turn on that bill payment enhancement, we show that in there too. So that's one of the fixes. And then the other one is when we go to pay bills, and I just want to show it again, we have this little button here that says show all rows. So we recently added that, and we're still kind of testing it out. I would love to know from your feedback, does this actually work? We could kill that feature completely if it just seems way too quirky for it to actually show, any sort of value. But it is essentially the the field is hidden. In the HTML on the page is hidden, and all Mark did was,
Hide it.
I'm calling it all because I'm sure it's more complex than that, but all Mark did was unhide it, quote unquote. Okay.
Yeah.
The last group of things is the improvements on existing pro features. So this is actually really awesome. Let's say, for example, I want to delete a particular account, and that account has items attached to it. So let me grab an item here. So we have this one called hedge trimming, and I'm going to edit this one really quick. Okay. And then this one's tied to an account called maintenance income. Okay. Reason I'm showcasing that is because if I try to delete that maintenance income account, if I try to delete it, okay, it's gonna say this account is used by a product or service, and you're stuck. Nothing you can do. Like you have to go figure this out. So this is called find.
And this is an Experiments Pro, by the
Oh,
way.
it's an experiment. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
under Experiments Pro, and it's called find for inactivating accounts, and obviously it's an Experiments Pro because we're still sort of testing it out. And the difference is when you have that turned on, and I'm gonna go delete the account. Okay, and we introduced this feature last month, but we didn't add one tiny little enhancement. When I click on find product and service, it now takes me into it opens up a report, and then it opens up a pop-up saying, hey, we went through your entire item list, and we figured out which of these accounts match. Now, unfortunately, it can only check on the income account and on the expense account. It cannot check on the inventory asset account because the report doesn't show inventory asset. So for inventory items that you're deleting a particular asset account, that could be the issue. But then the second layer of this enhancement that we added in December is that you can click on any of these, and it opens up a new tab. It opens up the item list, and it searches it. So it's now there in all its glory. So you can come in here and delete it or whatever you need to do. So then you can be able to go back and delete that account if you need to do that. So I know that many people during like cleanup processes, spend hours and hours trying to figure out which accounts match to this, to export, the item list to Excel, filter, try to figure things out. Takes forever. So we're just trying to make your life a little bit easier with that feature. And I forgot, do you remember who suggested that feature, Mark? I don't remember at this point.
No, I don't remember,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Okay. And then the last thing that we added is we added a subsetting to quick create payees. So if you hit Alt C or Alt V, it'll automatically create either a customer or a vendor for you while you're doing bank feed. So there's so many layers to this. So I have to kind of show you step by step here. So we'll go into bank feeds here. And okay. And let's say I want to create, this is a good example. Okay. So let's say I want to create a new vendor or a new customer from here. Now, when we turn on Quick Create, we'll go back and show you where that is. That's under Bank Automation Pro, and it's called Quick Create Payees from Memo. So when we have that turned on, you have a little plus button here, and we added that a couple months ago. So a little plus button here, and then when you click on that, basically it says, are you sure you want to create the vendor? And it automatically does it as a vendor. That's just the quirk,
Well, it just depends on
works.
if you're paying or if you're getting paid, basically.
Okay, true.
So
true. If it's an expense, is a vendor. If it's income or a deposit, is customer. Okay. So that's how it's automated. Okay. What we've done different or what we enhanced is that you can actually select the specific information you want. So let's say I want to do Sanif Auto. So I specifically select the text that I want, right? You can select the text that you want, Mark, or is it all the text? Okay. And then I hit Alt V on the keyboard. Does it work on Mac? I haven't even checked if it works on Mac.
it might be that it doesn't work
Yeah.
on Mac. It's probably going to be something.
Yeah, it won't work on Mac. So and it's a more
We also have a
complicated-
setting for this as well, so I think you have to turn that on too.
Yeah. No, I haven't even tested this. So where is it?
Yep.
Choose
vendor.
customer or vendor. Okay, let's pray. Let's see if it works on Mac. This literally just came out. So I haven't tested to see if it
Well,
works.
and this does
on-
two things when you turn this feature on, but you'll see what it does.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I want to create this one called, I'm going to do Starbucks personal. Oh, okay, I see. I see what you did. So instead of having just a plus sign, it says V or C. Okay, and then so if I press C, that's cool. So if I press C, it opens up, it creates it as a customer. Okay, perfect. Okay, and if I press V, it creates it as a vendor. Okay, now does it work if you select a specific text
Yeah.
with the buttons? Okay, so if I just press
Now,
box.
again, the Alt V thing might be weird on Macs, and
Oh
I'll
no,
have to figure out
yeah,
that
correct,
one.
correct. So we have box purse. If I click on V, okay. Oh yeah, it does it perfectly. Box purse. There you go. Okay, so it box purse, and then I click OK. It creates it as a vendor. Okay, beautiful. Okay, that's actually working exactly as I wanted it. So if I wanted to say Tarbu, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to do Tarbu. Okay, and then I press Alt. Let's see. In this case, would be uh, option Alt V. No, so it doesn't work on Mac. It's just weird the way things work on Mac. So we'll see if we can get that to work on Mac. The shortcut, we might not be able to. Just tricky. So for now, that's gonna be a PC only thing. But good you have the foresight and the vision, Mark, so we can just select what I want to do and then press V or press C. I think that's gonna be good enough.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Awesome. Yeah,
I don't
awesome.
remember who exactly asked for this, but I know that there was somebody who was like, "Oh yeah, I was annoyed that it was constant or was making it, specifically a customer, specifically a vendor." So
Right.
yeah,
So
hopefully
if
that
I do,
helps.
so again, if I don't click choose customer or vendor, it'll just be a plus sign. It'll automate it. If it's a deposit, it's a customer. If it's a expense, it's a vendor. If you prefer to have the V and the C, then we have choose customer or vendor, and then on a PC only, because I don't know if we're gonna be able to get on a Mac working ever, because there's no Alt button on a Mac.
We can make
You
it
can press
work.
Alt V or Alt C, but we'll get into that. Okay, that's it. We're done, and I'm actually heading to another webinar in about 2 minutes. So if we don't have any more questions or anything else that's pressing, we will end it here.
Yeah. I think people, let's see here. I think we have one question or request. And if you have a request, do put it in the Facebook group because we are pretty active on that. It is just the best place to do it, and it gives me a little bit of like peer pressure. So yeah, feel free to put that in there. Um, yeah, I think everybody else, I don't think there's any questions at the moment in this area.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. As we mentioned, the update to 0.7 should come out tonight, and that should have a fix for the sales tax thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, we should be good to go. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you. Well, Happy New Year and happy holidays, and we'll see you in January.
Yeah. See you in January, everybody.
Bye.